Hey guys, sporting some big blue energy today as we have an Apocalypse segment. If you guys saw our other video on Apocalypse Then and Now, we did a look at one of the earliest iterations of Apocalypse and one of the more recent iterations to see how Hasbro and its sort of like retro style captured some of that Toy Biz goodness and evolved it. And now we're going to be taking a look at the most recent Apocalypse figure that just came out yesterday in stores from Diamond Select Toys. This thing looks amazing. I just want to note that Diamond Select is actually the third producer of Apocalypse figures. So we have 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We have the 3 producers of the Apocalypse action figure, which is going to be Toy Biz, Hasbro, and then Diamond Select. I looked around. I could not find another company that made an action figure of Apocalypse. There's a sideshow statue in a premium format. There is a Iron Studios Apocalypse. There's several iterations of Apocalypse from Hasbro. There's a couple iterations of Apocalypse from Toy Biz, including the amazing Build-A-Figure, which was the gold standard, I think, until today. And now there's Diamond Select, but there's nothing out there, like I said, from Mezco or any of the other producers. This is it. Just these 3 companies have made Apocalypse figures. So we're not up to 4 yet, so no 4 Horsemen. But anyway, let's take a look at this packaging. Immediately you can see this figure is very imposing and commanding here. He's huge. Of course, I'm going to take a measurement because you guys have asked me in the past how tall are these things. So we'll do a measurement toward the end of the video. You can see the nice style of comic strips on the back here. Look at a more modern style Apocalypse as opposed to the older comics. So he's coming out of more modern paneling on the back here, and it just kind of goes over the history of Apocalypse along with who designed the character here. But that's really it. Select's packaging, they're kind of interesting in how they are. They have the giant window box, but also this weird wedge at the end, so you always know what you're getting on the shelf when you see this wedge packaging, that it's going to be a Marvel Select figure. They sort of carved out a niche for themselves in packaging design. It's also kind of difficult to open because it's like glued to the side here. But why don't we crack into this guy and check him out? Okay, I'm going to attempt a seamless unboxing here. Like I said, this packaging could be kind of difficult here. I'll use my knife of unboxing. So this is usually glued on to the side paneling here. There's never an easy way to tear this open without completely destroying it. Not much to preserve on it. It's not like it's a unique hardback or anything. So like I said, glued on the side there, and then it's going to be glued all the way around here. So we're just going to separate it from the base. Not trying to preserve this one, so I don't care if it's pretty or not coming out. And then he's going to have a ton of ties and tabs for him and all his accessories. So I just like slashing those from the back, so that way we don't end up scratching the paint on these things on the front side. So each accessory is tabbed in there. He's got multiple tabs on the ankles. He's got tabs on the arms. He's got tabs on the chest. He's got tabs on the extra hands. So this guy isn't going anywhere. And he's a heavy character, so part of it is keeping him secured in the package. And of course the other part is preventing retail theft, although again, I don't think people would just be taking the hands. They'd probably be going after the entire character. So I think that's most of it, and then there's just my mortal enemy, the cable, or these twist ties they have with a little piece of metal on the inside. So they're really hard to cut with the scissor, unless you have a right scissor for this. And they're just kind of hard to saw through as well. And you can never figure, they're like twisted both ways somehow, which should be impossible. So they always just kind of difficult to get to. So I still have him floating in here. Let's see. Feels like he's attached. Yep, just by the cable. Got him. This is my first shot, and no problems, basically. That's a new win for me. So let's start by checking out this guy. Amazing. I mean, look at this. I'll give you a close-up here. Just look at this design of this character. The head, the body, everything down to the boots. I mean, great. They have this like little metallic sheen on them, even though they're not. I love the cables and how they plug into the wrists here. The cables were always kind of tricky. I showed you on other characters. They limit his range of movement, and sometimes they kept popping in and out, like on the Toy Biz figure. We'll give these the test to see how they function. But really great design on this guy. I love his height. I love the feel of him. It's a really solid figure. Still, it's got some great articulation on him on the waist here. Bends at the chest area and the abs, head articulation, arm articulation, extra bicep articulation, elbow articulation, wrist articulation, hand articulation, knee articulation here, and all the way down to the ankle on a ball joint there. And he's even got little peg holes in the bottom. Not sure why there's no stand for him. And he could stand pretty well on his own. Of course, he's going to come with alternative hands, so he's got some punching fists here, and then he has his assortment of weapons, which is great. Some of the apocalypses, or apocalypse, or however we say that plural, come with some weapons and some come with none. The last thing is just going to be that typical licensed product where it shows you what else is available out there. It hasn't changed in a while, so a lot of those are not available anymore, but it just kind of gives you a ring of what else is available from Diamond Select. So we have a nice spike ball here. We have a drill hand, and notice there's a cutout here for attaching the tube. And then we have the claw. This doesn't bend or anything, so a little disappointing there that we don't have a grappling claw like we saw with the Toy Biz figure. But again, it does have the hose cut out here. So I'm going to try bending the arm and see how this hose flexes with Apocalypse, because that was something that we, oh, the joints are a little stiff. That was something that we always struggled with on Toy Biz, was how much these wires, how much give they had before they would pop out. So far this one is not, oh, there it goes. This one was not pulling out, but until I got to about there, midway across the body, then I lost it. It's also, these are really rigid because it's just right out of the package. So it might take a little wearing in, like the joints are always like that initially. So it might take a little wearing in before we're able to get those, and maybe they have a little bit more give and won't pop out of the arm as much. Like I always struggle with the elbows. I feel like I'm going to break the figure. There we go. So that popped out here on this side too. I'm trying to get the arm to bend, but it's a little stiff. So that popped out here too. So a little bit, these feel a little bit more rigid than the Hasbro ones do. I kind of liked how those bent and they moved a little bit with the figure. So these are a little bit stiffer. Let's try switching these out, because we always like to do a hand test on this guy. So here we go. So here we have the spike ball accessory. You can see that it also has a little joint in there to get a little articulation out of it, but that fits in the hand really nice there. And then we're going to switch this one out and try the drill accessory. I don't see a peg there. I'm not sure how this one's supposed to connect. Maybe you... Yep, there we go. So just like the Hasbro one, you pull off the wrist, and then you can put this on the arm here, and this becomes the arm. So we saw that same feature happen. If you check out our video on the Apocalypses, you'll see that the Hasbro one, how that works with the little blaster cannon. So then you plug in the tube here. So you can see him here with his blaster accessory, sporting that. It looks pretty good. Again, I like that attention to detail where they still have the tube when it becomes the arm to keep that sort of neat aesthetic to him. And then lastly, we're going to switch this out, a little twist, and then put on the claw. I think the claw goes this way with it facing the outside so the tube could go in. So you can see here the claw as well with that tube connecting to it. And that looks pretty sharp also along the side. It's a nice aesthetic, and like I said, the only disappointment I have here is that you can't articulate it and get it to close. But other than that, pretty great. Pretty great how they did this design all around. And then when you want to put them back together, you just kind of add these back on. And these all swap out pretty easy, which is great. I don't like struggling with hands. But I think he looks great. So why don't we take a look at Apocalypse and compare him to some of the other Apocalypses out there. And you guys can see some height differences and feature differences. And then I'll take a measurement and give you guys that as well. Okay, so we got our main man here, looking pretty sharp. And like I said, he's got that good range of motion. But these wires do pop out at a certain point. They're not as firmly in there as the Hasbro one, where he could move that arm a little bit better without the wires popping out there, the tubes. So I wanted to start by taking a look at like the first Apocalypse figure here from Toy Biz. He didn't do much. I think he stretched a little bit. That was really it. That's all he did, is he kind of grew. He didn't have any additional arm accessories or anything like that. He just came with this little cane that had a magic crystal that could come out, and that was really it. But it kind of mimics the same color scheme here as this Apocalypse, similar design to this, so that hasn't changed much over the years. The one I showed you guys in the video was the second version of Apocalypse, which I like more. These were the ones, though, with the tubes. Well, they're not doing it now, but they used to pop out all the time on me, and it was really annoying. But he had some great accessories. He had this claw here that did open and close, and then he had this little blaster where you could have this fake blast effect where you could move it. And of course, there goes the tube, just as I'm saying it didn't, it does right there. So that was kind of that Apocalypse. And that was, to me, one of the best ones of the time. There was also this really awesome Build-A-Figure that came out, I think it was in the mid-90s. That was kind of the gold standard. It looked a lot like this one. It was really great. Problem with that one, though, it had really thin ankles. So it just kind of looked weird, like its base was just not as solid as this. So I didn't like it for that reason. But it was kind of the best Apocalypse, I think, to date. It looked great, and it was just a great figure. It's going to command a huge premium if you try to find them on eBay, a couple $100. Trying to get that wave by itself is also really expensive, the Build-A-Figure wave. So after that, we have several iterations in Hasbro and the Marvel Legends line, all sorts of different variations of Apocalypse. And then most recently, they came out with this retro-inspired one. And we showed you guys in the video, the Then and Now series, like where it really drew a lot of inspiration from this Toy Biz character, including the accessories it came with, which was that the blaster arm that switches out the way I showed you his does. And he has alternate heads, so he has his Grimace face on here just to match up with this guy, and some alternate hands. His hands are open. He comes with the closed hands, so they both have the same kind of hands. He does have an alternative head, but he is a little bit shorter, and I don't like the paint scheme as much on this version as I do on the newer Select version. So as always, we're curious about where he comes in on the height, so I wanted to do that for you guys since I get these questions sometimes from you in the comments. He's coming in at about just over 9¼ inches from top to bottom. So he's pretty tall. He's one of the taller figures I've seen. Where does he compare to Red Hulk, you're asking? So I have our Red Hulk Select figure, and Red Hulk is 9½ inches. So he's just there. I mean, it's just like a finger between the two of them here. So pretty tall. I mean, not as wide, obviously, as Red Hulk. Red Hulk's a little bulkier, but pretty tall, which Apocalypse should be pretty tall. So that's kind of cool that they put him in this large scale with the other characters, but he's pretty amazing. I want to say he's the best Apocalypse out there right now, and I'm sure people have opinions about other Apocalypses or Apocalypse that have been out there, but he's the best. I mean, it would have been over the top if this kind of had a flexible feature in it, but I think it's cool. They kind of give you an assortment of different arms, and that's great that it's true to sticking to that little tubing mechanism he has for when he has his arm mutations, because that was kind of true. Like, these would hook up to the tubes as well on the Toy Biz character, so they had that attention to detail. It still has the tube curse, where it's kind of restricting his range of movement. I mean, after a while it's going to pop out, but it just does. There's not much you can do about that. These tubes are always a little rigid. Like I said, I think these were the best in terms of tubes that I've seen. I haven't, well, that popped out too. Nothing's perfect, but they're just a little bit more flexible. So it just depends on your range of motion that you're going to have with the character. I mean, if he's more of a display or if he's more a casual use kind of figure, then it shouldn't be an issue, particularly if you're just displaying him. But maybe over time these will wear a little bit. They're really stiff right now. But that's kind of better too, because when they're really flexible like this, they tend to pop out all the time, just because there's no, like I said, there's no point to grab onto. They're not very rigid, so they're just going to keep popping out all the time. These I never had a problem with, but I think they were kind of glued in there, so that's cheating. So these are not glued in there because you need to be able to switch them out. So that's kind of good that they didn't do that. But he looks great. The sculpt's amazing. The paint applications are amazing. I love the height on this guy. He's like, you know, a real Apocalypse figure. He's not coming in too short to match in with the other ones in your other lines. If you're a Marvel Legends collector, You could throw this right into the line. You have this giant imposing Apocalypse. I think that's awesome. So it's just a great look for him, and they pull off this nice metallic kind of look a little bit with him, even though he's not really painted in any kind of metallic, but the boots do come off with this like metallic sheen. So really like that. I think you guys are really going to like this if you love Apocalypse or you're an X-Men fan. I think you just look great in your collection. I love when they do these big figures. I think these is what some of their best work are, these larger scale figures like Red Hulk, Apocalypse here. Like they just kind of nail the details on this larger scale, and he just looks amazing. Tricky one here, he's kind of sold out. He completely sold through on Big Bad Toy Store. They might get more in. Comic shops are getting them now, but a lot of them are selling out already. Entertainment Earth will be getting it next month, so we'll have a link for it for you guys to pre-order it. And of course, we'll have a code that if it does come in stock, you can use the code for the discount. But it will probably be gone when it comes in stock, so I don't recommend doing that. They have this retails for about $30, so we'll have a link for you if you guys want to pick this up. We'll have a link if you want to check out more from Diamond Select and their other Select videos or figures. If you want to see more from us in Diamond Select reviews, we did a couple recently. We did a Vision review, we did Red Hulk review, and we did a bunch of other non-Marvel character reviews as well. So you guys are welcome to check those out. Just click on our videos and go through our history there. If you guys ever want to see anything else we've reviewed in the last 20 years, go to the website, click on reviews, and go through all the various product manufacturers and licensors there. You guys could find a ton of different stuff. So you might be surprised in some of the things we have on there. It's been a long time and a long collection of reviews. So that's all we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed checking out Apocalypse. I think he's amazing. He's going to be a great piece in your collection, so try to grab him if you can. Of course, tune back for more. Like, subscribe, and follow. We're going to have a ton more from Diamond Select that's new for you guys to look at. We're going to have more from Playmates for you guys to check out, more from Factory Entertainment, and maybe some other surprises in there as well. So keep checking back. We do a couple videos a week. So that's all for now. We'll see you guys next time.